Hey, what's going on out there, YouTube family? This is Samuel Leggett, representing JVS. This is part 3 of Joker equal violence, fear, danger, question mark. First, I want to give a huge shout out to you guys for all the love and support for the official Joker review. It really blew my mind when I saw as many people commented and liked and watched. So I just want to give a huge shout out and appreciation for that. Also, we're going to be going to New York Comic-Con this weekend. So the official spoiler review for the movie will be released on Saturday early in the morning. It'll probably be recorded today, but I don't want to leave any kind of spoilers whatsoever. In this video, I'm going to be very tactful and very specific to avoid any kind of specific spoilers in terms of this movie, because you don't want to get spoiled and you don't want to miss anything about it. But now let's go ahead and get to the nitty gritty. So one of the reasons why I wanted to do a part 3, because I wanted to, after watching the movie, take into consideration all the different, worries and concerns. Even Warner Brothers is taking extreme measures when it comes to different locations. I think New York has beefed up security. When I went and saw my screening, they did a lot more security than I've ever seen. And I mean, again, like I said before, I think it's from a place of security, and it's justifiable given the concerns of the subject matter. One of the things is hard to kind of, sit there and be like, oh, well, that's okay. But some people are coming from a place of fear or using fear as a catalyst to promote, like this imminent danger. And they haven't even seen the movie. And so that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this. So after seeing the movie, it's a very sad and tragic story. Beautifully executed. I gave the movie a 10 out of 10, but I left a lot of disclaimers there that this movie is not for everyone, and the movie in and of itself is very uncomfortably disturbing in a lot of different moments and a lot of different ways. And one of the biggest things is, to me, that was the most disturbing part, is just how grounded and deep-seated in reality that Todd Phillips was able to push for Gotham City as a whole. Gotham City, it almost can be comparable to the real-life environment that's going on now, because one of the biggest things about it is during the time that this movie is being shot, in the era piece in the actual movie, the Gotham City is just on a downward spiral. And it's like the atmosphere in and of itself is indicative of comparison. A lot of people critique, Todd Phillips from taking from Taxi Driver, from taking from Kings of Comedy, from taking from other elements from other, Batman, Joker-related themes like, The Killing Joke. All that's from a factual place. Is he copying it? No, but he's definitely taking different homages to that. But what makes his movie so distinct and so terrifyingly scary is, honestly, to me, the grounded in reality, deep-seated things that are really happening. And the worry and the constraint and the fear that I had, even when I was going to and articulating my review, was people taking this as ownership of certain things. And without spoiling anything, people that have been oppressed, or people that have been in a financial situation, or people that have been just wronged, and the environment around them is continuously putting them into this whirlwind of just detriment and turmoil, is the real reality and theme for a lot of the things that are happening in this movie. And with that, that is where I worry that people will look upon certain aspects of this and like, this was justifiable, or I can see where this happened. I don't think the justifiable thing is where we want. That's not what we want people to go down this road of, like, this feeling of need for civil war, this need for vengeance, or this need for change by any means necessary. But I think from an awareness standpoint of the way society or certain things in society or certain themes that are really happening in comparison, I think that they're valued to be looked at. I think that they're valued to be like assessed like, whoa, man. Because one of the biggest things about the Black Klansman, when I looked at the Black Klansman, at the end of the movie, you know, they made certain comparisons to certain things that were happening now versus then. And that was where the movie in and of itself, to me, became a good movie to a amazing movie, because they made that direct correlation. And I think that this movie does that, but it just did it in a totally different way. And that's what the worry part for me is, because, you know, whereas Black Klansman, you know, it's like, this is a social injustice, this is things that are still happening and certain stuff. And it's like, it's the same thing here, but the catalyst and the outpour and the output that happened was a place of violence. And that's where there is room for concern. And that's what I've said, even in my review, please look at this and look at it that we need to promote, you know, things to be better. We need to rise above certain aspects of what's happening to these people, or what's happening to the environment of, you know, what we're in right now. Now, when it comes to the mental illness part, I don't think that they, you know, glorify or, you know, push like, you know, this is what is gonna happen, this is, you know, this was rightfully done. Like, no, everything that was happening in this movie that, you know, Arthur did or what happened to him, all of it, either one, I was, you know, really upset by, or I was like, this is wrong. You know what I'm saying? And I think that from that standpoint, that brings awareness to, you know, bullying is one thing. Bullying is one thing. But it's another thing when you, whoa, somebody tried to pull out in front of me. It's another thing when you're like, you know, somebody is mentally ill, you know they need help, and society around them, people around them, no one helps. Like, it's like, even if, you know what I'm saying, the character wasn't mentally ill, like, anybody can be brought to a breaking point. One of the things I'll say about the movie in and of itself is that the theme for the Joker in The Killing Joke was that it only takes one bad day. And it's like, no, like, this man had a bad life. And because of that, you know, he was always on this tipping point, and he was always trying to maintain it, control it, and nobody was really there to help. And society wasn't really there to help, and this is what the byproduct of it was. And I think from that aspect, like, that's the most saddest, upsetting thing about the aspects of what's happened in this movie to this character. And like, people that have a mental illness, they absolutely need help. People that are dealing with depression absolutely need help. People that have gone through abuse absolutely need encouragement, help, empathy, anything you can think of. And I think that in and of itself, like, if anything, it draws attention to that. But I can see where it can be overclouded by the amount of violence, by the amount of things that are happening that are just always a feeling of injustice. And I think that that's where you have to make sure you assess this movie the right way. We assess this movie the right way. We make the right proactive choices to promote not just change, you know, by any means necessary, but the right kind of change, the right kind of succession. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, those are my thoughts in terms of just these aspects of after seeing the film. Talked with a couple different people, and some of them that did see the film, like, they chose and opted not to actually review it because they were worried the way that it would basically go internalize their personal perspective on it, versus trying to actually efficiently critique the movie as just a movie, because it is a lot to say. It is a lot to be concerned by. It is a lot to take in. But more so than that, like if you've dealt with abuse, if you've dealt with like injustice, if you dealt with in perpetual fear of someone doing something or inciting something to you, then it's kind of like you could take ownership of, you know, the character. You can make the character with the blinders of you being in their space. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, movies are supposed to do that, but I think the next thing I'm going to talk about, if I do a part 4, is art, responsibility, and execution. What I mean by that is like, okay, I'm a director, which I am. I'm a writer. Like, and you want to tell a story. How much of this do you take ownership for if the movie in and of itself is potentially a catalyst to something negative happening, or, you know, inciting something in someone that brings out like, man, like this feeling or need for vengeance, or this feeling or need to do something. And I think that that's the next thing I'm going to go and try to tackle. So stay tuned for that. This is a really long video. I apologize for, I feel like I was just murmuring a little bit. So I apologize for that. But hopefully this does give you a little bit of insight after watching the film and, you know, putting a face to everything that I've seen and perceived from the movie. I would like for you guys, when you do watch the movie, let me know in the comment section below what you thought about what I said. Again, I will be doing a more in-depth review, spoiler review. It's going to be posted up come Saturday morning while I'm at Comic-Con, but I'm going to record it sometime tonight. Okay? Keep it locked. JVS, we ain't going to stop. Peace, guys.